I got 4 million subscribers now. Do you know who I am, sir?
I know who that is right there. That's God.
I'm Brandon Rogers. I'm very famous.
I recognized you right away. You're Brandon Rogers.
Oh my God!
Brandon. How much you pay the old man to say? We got the gift of choice right there. You can haggle with that a little bit because, you got a little leeway in case you want to gift something to somebody over there. You're going to be listening to the audio, which you have free all the time on the SoundCloud, the iTunes. It's our gift to you because we hold no grudges around here.
Not me.
Not me either, man. But I know some of y'all going to be like, ooh, man. They talking about this, and I know they making crazy faces. I've got to see how they're talking about this, and I got to feel like I'm there. So when you go over there, please subscribe, and you can do so by many means. But one of the means that I would recommend is try using your Amazon account, not Prime account, just Amazon account, because you got an Amazon Pay button. Put your username, your password in there, press enter. Ooh, what is that you feel right there? You got some toasty goodness all over your body? A little bit, man. Let me see. Let me wipe that off for you. All over your body now. People, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome over here our special guest. I tell you, Brandon Rogers is going to be here, and do. Look, I got that nice picture of you, Brandon, and we do have you here. What's going on, man?
Oh, it's honestly, it's my birthday weekend. I just turned 30, so I've just been partying all weekend long. It's been phenomenal.
So you're fucked up right now.
Well,
I think he's more hungover.
No one said I can't confirm or deny anything right now.
Brandon, I want to introduce you to some people in here. Now, I know you know Sammy, who we're going to be bringing up in a little while. Sammy Gonzalez over here. But I don't think you can see. I don't know if you can see this, but you'll hear him. I got my man over here, my faithful co-host, Martin Thomas.
Hey, Brandon, how's it going?
To everyone. Martin Thomas, I love that name. That sounds like a race car driver.
Now, I got to tell you.
I never heard that before, but that's good. Okay.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. I met Brandon when we were in Orlando.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were at Universal Studios. I saw Brandon almost get his ass beat by a possum.
That's right. That's right. We were at Universal. They closed down the whole park just for us, and so there was all kind of critters running loose, and a possum ran, and it stopped and it hissed at you. It was going to attack you or something like that. I don't know.
I think he hissed at your boy Gabriel. It's like this possum came out just.
Was it Gabriel?
Yeah.
I just remember it stopped and hissed, and we didn't quite know what to do. Was it going to attack, or do we run away? Do we attack?
Yeah. It's almost like this possum jumped out and just panicked and pulled out a switchblade on everybody. It's like,
right. It's a scary moment.
Yeah, and we kind of bonded over that. We were like, well, fuck, ain't nothing gonna be scary after this, no matter what kind of ride we get on. But I gotta tell you,
it was downhill from there.
Yeah, it was, man. It was. I was like, fuck, give that possum a ride, man. But I gotta tell y'all something, man.
What's up?
Brandon is one of the funniest guys, and I'm not just saying this either. He's one of the funniest guys that I've seen on YouTube, and one of the most talented. I just sit back and
thank you.
First of all, I sit back and I'm like, I say, fuck this dude. He's got more subscribers than we do, so I'm just like, there's some envy going on.
He's got a couple more.
Yeah.
A couple million more, I meant.
Yeah, and Brandon, I assume Brandon right now. This is you're doing some community service or charity work right now, coming on the show here today.
Oh no, this is not good. No, I love doing these kind of things. I would do it even if we weren't on a podcast. I just love talking with people.
And he really does.
So you don't have blackmail on him?
No, not at all.
He's doing this out of the kindness of his heart.
He's doing this out of the kindness of his own heart. I lied to everybody.
I don't know. Maybe he do have blackmail on me. I don't know. We don't. Yeah. You might. I don't know. I'm just doing this just because I love you.
Well, I tell you what, man. Shit. So you are gay, right?
I am. I'm as gay as they come. I think. Well, not quite. I don't flaunt it as much as others might, but yeah, like I'm open to it. A lot of people thought that I wasn't out or that I was. No, I never talk about it, but yeah.
Thing about he puts out.
I'm sorry, man. That was just a weird question to just kind of throw out there out of nowhere.
Well, the reason why I'm asking that is because there's just something so smooth about Brandon when you're around him. And I was, because I noticed this before I even knew who he was.
Yeah.
I was like, because when you hang out with him, he's just very reserved and very cool, and so cool that you even say to yourself, damn, boy, this brother was gay. I get with him. So,
well, hey,
yeah. So
there you go.
So you might have some blackmail on you, man, meaning me. You're an attractive dude, man. And you make it cool. I'm just telling you. And
thank you.
And I got to say, congratulations on 4 million subscribers, and
thank you, man.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at his YouTube channel right here. It really is the kind of guy that's very inspirational, man, because you can look at his channel, and really when you look at it, that's when you put that out there, man, fuck this. Who's this guy? Because you think he's doing some bullshit. It's like, oh, this is YouTube. He probably ain't doing nothing but reacting to shit. Yeah. Like movie trailers or doing movie reviews or some shit like that. But if you look at his work, this guy has great production value, and as I said, is an amazing talent. Brandon, is it okay if I show you a video where you reach 4 million subscribers?
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah, no, he does not look at. He's like, oh god.
That old thing.
Yeah, go for it.
No, it's hilarious, man. He has 4 million subscribers. So you're thinking 4 million people are watching me on the regular? Surely people know who I am.
I got 4 million subscribers now. Do you know who I am, sir?
I know who that is right there. That's God.
I'm Brandon Rogers. I'm very famous.
I recognize you right away. You're Brandon Rogers.
Oh my God!
How much you pay the old man to say? You really are great, man. You are. I look at you, and I look at you with much envy, as I said, but also look at you with much respect as someone who is.
Thank you.
I do a lot of art myself, and like I said, I look at what a lot of people do on YouTube, and a lot of things do lack production value, but you don't. Now, do you come from a background where you did acting or improv?
Yeah, well. Growing up, I grew up in a small town, and when YouTube came out back in 2005, 2006, I was a big film buff. I loved making films a lot. I loved the idea of writing a script and casting the actors. And when YouTube came out, my friends and I realized that we can just do this, and show it to so many people. And so my heart's always been filmmaking first, and then comedy second, and everything else kind of falls into line. And YouTube is just the best platform to put stuff up, even still to this day, to get as many views as possible. So yeah, when I'm a YouTuber by definition, but by trade, I like to think of myself as a director, or a comedian. And not YouTuber is such a vast term for what we do. But yeah, no, I'm glad you see that we put a lot of hard work into the videos.
Yeah, it really does. Now, I'm going to go back to some questions for Brandon, but what I really want to do is show where the production falls on his videos. That was a man on the street bit right there, but if you go and watch the videos where he actually does his characters, you'll see not only just how much production value goes into it, but just how talented this man is. That's how he's gotten to be known. And I will go ahead and say that you are a comedian. When you're online or you're doing internet stuff, you don't know what to call yourself. The other day, I got jumped on because I didn't know Instagram comedian was a thing. Yeah, that's a thing, man. And so I
know.
Yeah, and so you truly are a comedian. And you're very funny. This is a day at the beach where he kind of combines a lot of the characters that he does already.
Here's some assholes. Yo, it's hot as shit, dog.
I am fucking melting. My tits are turning into my nut.
He doesn't really like glasses.
Yeah.
Brandon, that's amazing, man. I really like that. Really, I love that, man. That's awesome. So, you started your channel how long ago?
I started it when YouTube, pretty much shortly after it first began, back in 2006, I believe. YouTube is still a relatively new thing. Comedy on YouTube was so different back then. Scripted comedy was a lot more relevant back then. A lot of people were doing scripted, web series and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then the idea of following a person really kind of took that over. Vloggers then, kind of took over the YouTube persona. You think YouTube, you think of someone who just films their whole life, and that's the majority of what the larger channels are. You know, personalities that rather than like characters or films or you know, fiction. So yeah. I'm still holding on though.
Yeah, no, you. Well,
I mean, 4 million. Come on,
this goddamn modest motherfucker. Yeah. I'll still hold on.
I'm gonna keep trying. Maybe one day I'll make it.
I'll be a success one day. These ragged ass 4 million subscribers I got. Shut your ass up, man. You talking to people who barely got 100,000. I don't want to hear that shit.
No, I mean, I'm holding on. I'm holding on in terms of like I'm the only YouTuber who's like the only, you know, you don't see a lot of big channels that are trying to do scripted or like, you know, fictional entertainment. Everything is kind of rooted in reality.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So like, I'm still trying to keep that side of YouTube alive, you know, because it's definitely not as relevant as it used to be like 10 years ago for sure.
Okay, now that's an interesting question there. With everything that's been going on with YouTube, and it's safe to say that you are one of the most successful YouTubers out there. I mean, you have millions of subscribers. Yeah. I would say, no, I'm going to assume a lot here. Maybe I should just ask you, your livelihood solely on YouTube?
Pretty much. We're doing, we do like a live show. We're on tour right now. And we do a live show where it's basically like sort of a stand-up, like a live version of what we do. I do a lot of the characters on stage, and it's an entirely scripted like hour of comedy as my characters. But yeah, so far it's been amazing. We've been able to meet people that we wouldn't have met face to face otherwise in different cities, and so
it's funny how that's happening right now. We go on tour ourselves, and we've learned that. I mean, it's almost like YouTubers are turning into musicians. They're either realizing a lot of money can be made from going on the road, or you know, they kind of make that equal amount of income that comes in. Right. So with everything that's happening now, you have everything wrapped up in YouTube. Does any of this stuff scare you at all? Just how shaky YouTube monetization has been sometime?
You know, a little bit. I mean, it's always a scary thing whenever censorship is on the table and freedom of speech is in a sense in jeopardy. But I mean, YouTube has struck a pretty like, you know, friction-free playing ground for us. They've been pretty decent with our channel. You know, nothing, you know, I have no complaints as of right now, but I see it happening to a lot of other channels, though. And it is scary because you wonder who's to say what is right and what is wrong. And, you know, they're holding such a big net in front of the masses and YouTube. I mean, YouTube is a prime source of how people get their information now. And so when you have someone censoring things, that can be really scary.
Yeah.
And even if they're not censoring it, you know, monetization, demonetizing a video, that's a YouTuber's livelihood. You know, you're making an executive choice in a keystroke of whether or not that person gets money for the work they put into something, and you don't know how long they've worked on that video or whatever.
That is true, man. I mean, even with what we do, that yellow dot comes up. They have this dot that comes up, meaning that somebody needs to review your thing, and it's always, and I swear, it's always based on an individual. I've had some videos where they were pretty innocent, and somebody said, "No, this can't go out." And then I did something about somebody like committing suicide or something, and they were like, "Yeah,
went through.
And you can went through. Yeah, you can monetize this. You're making a point." You know, I don't get it. But would you recommend?
Yeah, I don't get it either. It's very unclear what the appeal process is like and who's making those choices, right? Because someone's sitting behind a screen on the other end deciding whether or not they think your work. And you know, the guidelines, I feel like they're called guidelines for a reason because they're very vague, because some people get by breaking the guidelines, and some people, they use the guidelines very clearly on them. Oh, you broke this exact guideline. And so, I don't know. It's very vague. We're still kind of in the Wild West in terms of censorship, I feel like. People are still kind of not sure how to filter all of this stuff out. Because there is stuff on YouTube that is actual hate, you know, and I get people not wanting that to spread, but there's a lot of beautiful stuff that gets censored or demonetized strictly because, oh, they said the word rape, or they said, you know, whatever, and then suddenly the video is allowed to make money. So.
Well, that being said, so interesting point that you got on in 2006 So somebody who wants to get on YouTube now, because a lot of people say that you got on the ground level, which that's a common saying. Get on something on the ground level, and then
well, technically, I did not get in on the ground level because my channel didn't blow up until 10 years after that. It was 2016 that anyone started to even know my name.
Wow, what changed that then? You put 10 years of work and it blows up later.
It's always 10 years to create an overnight success.
Yeah, no, and you know what? Yeah, you always hear that, man. A lot of people who seem like they're successful, they put in some work.
Yeah.
Even with what we got, people don't realize we've been doing this for 20 years. But what is it? What is it that you did that all of a sudden blew up in 2016?
Well, when Vine came around, people realized that my videos make great Vine clips because the jokes are so short, they're so quick. So people were taking little clips from my videos and putting them on Vine, and they would blow up on Vine, but they wouldn't credit me. So you can imagine how frustrating that is. I was such a small YouTuber. I couldn't get past like 50,000 subscribers ever. Like in 10 years, I kind of just stopped right there, and I wouldn't get any higher. And then yet on Vine, I'm watching clips get 100,000, even millions of views on Vine. And so it was very frustrating because it was someone else getting credit for cutting up my work, and no one knew who I was. And FBE at the time, the Fine Brothers, they saw that and they did their research because they were like, "Who is this meme? Where can we?" People didn't even know that I was the same actor playing the different characters.
Huh.
They would see the different characters of mine would go viral, and they wouldn't even make the connection that the same person is playing these people. So when the Fine Brothers did their research on me, they did a video to at the time they had 14 million subscribers. They made a video to all their subscribers about me. And they said, this guy that you all watch on Vine, this is his real name, this is his YouTube channel, and he has 10 years of work that no one's watched. And so people went back, and luckily, you're right, it takes 10 years to make an overnight success because I had 10 years of work that people then started sharing with their friends and started, and that stuff just blew up overnight.
Nice, very nice.
And so, yeah, it was in a way. I got, I started at ground level, but I didn't quite get past ground level until 2016, and then I moved up. But
it could be argued that you have such this large inventory of work that helped contribute to what happened in 2016. Starting so early on.
Right.
Yeah.
For a long time, I felt like I had wasted those years of my life. Because I dropped out of college, I moved to LA, I sold everything just to make a studio apartment even feasible, and it just felt like I'd wasted those 10 years of my life because I could have used that money toward a degree. I could have used that money toward, a nice home or something practical. And I just felt like it wasn't until a couple years ago that I felt like those 10 years weren't wasted because I wouldn't necessarily be here if those 10 years didn't happen. If I didn't drop out of college sooner, or if I didn't, if I didn't make those videos. And
well, now I feel bad for all those times I looked at your site and said, "Fuck branding," because I didn't know so much work behind it.
You think only you did all the work, but everybody else just got lucky.
I thought he just got lucky, man. I'm like, son, why me? Why can I be like this guy? Why this guy?
I was miserable. I was working at a law firm pretty much that whole time. I was working in a cubicle, 9 to 5. And I'm watching other people who get to make a living off their art. They get to travel. They get to do all this. And I was the fuck those guys. I used to call them the 2 o'clock assholes because of the people you see walking down the street at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because they don't have a fucking desk job. And I used to hate all the 2 p.m. assholes. I said, fuck these guys for not having to be in an office. And so, yeah, to this day, I'm still very grateful. My cameraman, he's filmed everything that I've done in the last 3 years, and I met him at the law firm. We used to share this little tiny cubicle together.
Is that Gabriel?
Gabriel, yeah. Gabriel Gonzalez. And we decided one day, we were just like, fuck this. We realized we work very well together in videos, and we just said, let's find a way to get out of this office. And we did. And so, because our lives were going nowhere really fast.
Nice. So. Very nice. Now, I'm getting approached by other platforms now to do something there, and they use that whole thing. Get on this because it's becoming popular, and other people they say I'm getting fed up with this right here on YouTube. I'm going to go to this other platform that's on the rise. For people coming in now, you got plenty of years. You might success might have really hit in 2016, but you got a lot of experience with this. So for some kid who's coming up and saying, I want to do this, would you recommend they get on YouTube? Would you recommend they go to another platform? Recommend they diversify?
Yeah, I think YouTube is still a really great platform to. I mean, Facebook is too. I think they're definitely competing in terms of who can share more videos, get more watch time. I'd say wherever you find you already have a bigger audience, everyone either has a presence on YouTube or Facebook. Most people have one or the other, and so especially if they're interested in going into it. And so I'd say whichever one's your bigger demo, whichever one you have more followers on, just run with that and do what you love. A lot of people ask me like, oh, how do you get into videos? I just make whatever I think is like. I like to do whatever I think is fun. Just like I'm sure you guys talk about the things you want to talk about. I don't know. I think YouTube is a great place to be yourself and you can't be too weird on YouTube because even I found fans. And I'm pretty weird as they come. So I think there's nothing wrong with being strange because no matter how strange you are, there is a group of people waiting to like find people like you out there.
More than ever, Martin, you hear a lot of people, kids.
Yeah.
That's become something now. I want to be, it's a career path. I want to be a YouTuber.
Right.
And look, a lot of people who still don't understand the platform would tell them, no, that's not safe. Don't do it. That's, do something that's going to like actually make that as your backup plan, but don't do that. And I'm kind of the opinion of You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be a celebrity, but you can go on YouTube and kind of make money still. There's a lot of kids who come in who kind of have this entrepreneurial spirit amongst themselves, and they can make a living. Maybe not be rich, but they can make a living.
Sure. And that's great for them. My fear is because it's another glamour profession, which means you got so many people, of the 99 people who want to do it, 2 or 3 are actually going to be successful at it.
It's still a creative field and you got to do something.
And it lures people into it, and some of them just don't really have the heart for it. They just don't know how much it's going to take. The idea of them having to wait 10 years to be successful is too much for them to handle.
Well, Brandon, there you go. You got somebody like me that says it's possible. You got somebody who's old and says, I don't understand this. No, I'm messing with you. That's not what I said. I know you just said, I'm going to mess with you. No, Martin's a very smart guy.
There is a middle ground because, yes, it's very true. 2%, very few people make it. And everyone goes into it with the intention of making it. So that means that 98% or whatever are going to be drastically, But I think it's always better to go into something wondering, am I going to make it? Am I not? And failing at it. I think it's better to do that than to never do it at all and always wonder the rest of your life, what if I had tried?
Oh, absolutely.
When I had the means and the time and I had, I was living at home doing nothing that summer. I could have, see if YouTube, I mean, I feel like that a lot of YouTubers start thinking they're not going to necessarily make it, and they do. I after 10 years, I thought, okay, if I was going to make it, I would have made it by now. Like, and it just happened. So I don't know. I think it's definitely better to try and fail than to just be like, I'm gonna to get too involved with your backup plan. Let me put it that way. I know a lot of people whose backup plan became their forefront, and that kind of consumed their A plan. And so, and again, it's a fine line you have to walk because you got to support yourself, right? You can't just, decide you want to be a full-time artist and then how are you going to eat, how you pay rent. There's making sure you can live, making sure you have, your health is okay, your finances are okay. And then on top of that, trying to be creative, it's not easy. And a lot of people fail in it.
My final question for you before you open up the floor here is, this is what it's leading up to. Young person coming up and saying, I want to do YouTube. I want to be like you, Brandon. And what would your recommendation be for this young generation that is now seeing YouTube as a thing to aspire to?
Don't be afraid to make really shitty work up front. I think people look at my stuff and they say oh, I want to be just like that. Well, I filmed the way I film because I spent so many years doing it, on my learning the trial and error of for instance, if you do a scene with 3 other actors, you need to anticipate that someone's going to be late. Something's going to, the air conditioner is going to break. Little things that happen on a shoot, especially when you're just doing it on your own. In the last 10 years, I've learned to prepare for like the worst in a situation. And I think it's great to be ambitious, but just know that your first few projects are probably going to be terrible. I don't know any artist, musician, filmmaker, actor whose first projects weren't exactly terrible.
I've asked a few questions. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, Martin, especially since you just met Brandon and since you've kind of kept up with Brandon a little bit. You guys, I'm just going to open the floor to you guys.
Well, Brandon, I'm curious about your schedule because you're touring now. So how often do you get videos out? Because that is the thing about stuff that's scripted, that all the editing time.
Editing is actually the least. I edit everything we shoot that day before I go to bed. But it's the writing that takes forever to do. I just did a video. We try and do one once every 2 weeks, once every week. We try and keep it as often as we can. Mm-hmm. And the tour doesn't really set us back too much because after a while the show is just the same show, so you don't really have to spend any time rehearsing the show. You just go there for sound check, perform, and then you're gone. And mm-hmm. So we would try and do a video every week or every 2 weeks, but we just did one that was 30 minutes long, so that took us a month, or almost 30. It was 22 something minutes long. But yeah, we spent about a month doing that. So now we're back to the once every couple weeks, once every week schedule.
Hey Brandon, giant Mexican guy. I hope you remember me. Anyway,
of course.
What was I going to say? I've been keeping up with your videos a little bit more closely, especially watching A Day at the Beach, this last one that he put out, the one that you showed. And then I saw another video. I think you were in London or overseas somewhere with your junk hanging out, rolling all over people and stuff. Like, how in trouble do you get with the police sometimes doing some of these sketches, or with other sort of security guards or things like that? Because you're getting away with some foul shit, and I can't imagine everybody knows who you are, as obviously you saw the video. So how do you get out of situations where cops are being called on you because there's an old man running around cussing at children, or there's a guy running around naked at a public event?
We're definitely not very welcome. Go. And it's actually not the cops because cops are actually the least of our worries, because cops deal with actual crazy people. They deal with actual criminals. And when they see, some jackass, these half-assed YouTube comedians trying to do a sketch, they don't take us seriously. They just kind of walk up and like, okay, guys, stop it. It's the citizens that you have to watch out for, because people really like to take the law into their own hands. They like to feel like they have apprehended or stopped something terrible. Jesus. And when they see this happening in public...
Sorry, Martin's laughing at you rolling down these steps right now.
Right. Well, sometimes, they don't know how to process some of it, because a lot of the time it's me hurting myself. So it's like, how do you process someone hurting themselves in public? It's... But then on the other hand, it's like for instance, in that video, I poured a bucket of blood into the ocean, and the beach was crowded with people. So we had to do that in front of people, and we got mixed reactions. We got people who were alarmed and upset that they didn't know it was fake blood. They thought I was actually pouring blood into the ocean where their kids are swimming. And they reacted quite negatively. Or sometimes they'll laugh and take pictures, even if they don't know who we are. They'll still find it funny. So I don't know. But yeah, if we ever get in trouble, it's usually by citizens, people walking by, dads who want to try and be a man in front of their family.
Martin, like, that's me. Martin, like, I better never catch you pulling some shit like that around my daughters.
I'll take care of this.
Well, like one of the scenes in A Day at the Beach is him dressed up as a woman with another guy dressed up as a woman, and they're scissoring each other trying to sync their periods together. So it's like, that's in front of people, because obviously you see it's crowded. Yeah. So it's like, that could lead to some different reactions. Like, hey, I don't want my kids seeing that, which is fair.
When you think of the main crowd that's going to be watching this versus these 3 people who are uncomfortable in that moment, who will never see you again ever.
Yeah, Brandon's like, I'm trying to get my money. Fuck him.
Like, you know who I am?
It's like, fuck them. Exactly. Like, I'm sorry if you're uncomfortable. My job's cooler than yours. I'm going to have my period, and you're going to watch it or don't. But stop holding it up.
Nice, man. Nice. And that is why he's a success. Don't give a fuck. Watch my period.
I think when people see something different, you're walking down the street and you just see anything different or out of the ordinary, people like to make it very aware that they know that's, I see you being, it's like when, I don't know, in LA there's crazy people all over the place, but when there's a camera around, then it becomes an event that people want to stop and interfere with. When they see that there's a camera, they're like, oh, what is this? I want to,
Yeah.
really make it hard for them to do it.
Well, Brandon, like I said, I have plans for you. Now, one of the things that I noticed about you after I first met you is that, as we saw in your video, I'll put it back up there. As we saw in your video, you base your career on playing a lot of characters, which means that you have to put on a lot of disguises. And I imagine that you probably have, you don't have to name anybody yet, but you probably have some influence on your life from other comedians who love to dabble in the costumes. And so I'm going to test your knowledge of such comedians right now.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to not name the actor or actress, but I will give vague descriptions of the characters that they play. And if you can guess who they are, then you win, which you probably don't give a shit because there's no prize here. But we just want to do this as a little bit of fun. Are you down for that?
Oh, let's do it. Let's see how well I know my fellow comedians, these fellow character comedians.
All right.
All right.
I think the first one's not going to be so hard. So let's start out with